Hi, my name's Spag Speight. I'm here at Barnsley College, and today I'm going to be talking about the college microphone inventory, looking at all the microphones that we've got. I'm going to break it up into two categories, condensers and dynamics. Okay, part one, we're going to be looking at condensers. The first one we're going to look at is this Neumann U87 AI. Originally it used to be a Neumann U87, but the A just means that it's the new model in that particular range, okay? It's very expensive, so don't drop it. I'm not going to mention any names, but unfortunately it has been dropped once, and we don't want it to happen again, so look after it. First thing to note on this microphone, it has three polar patterns. Omnidirectional, we can scroll through to cardioid, and we can also go through to figure of 8. On the back of the microphone, there's two more switches. First one over here is a high-pass filter, which reduces low-frequency content if we've got too much rumble or something like that. And the second one is a -10 attenuator switch. So if signals get too loud, we can turn in the attenuator switch and record it without distortion. Although Neumann do state not to record anything that's really loud with this microphone, because it doesn't like it and it might get excessive distortion, okay? With the attenuator switch in at -10, you can probably go up to about 127 decibels, so it is really loud, but like I say, not ideal for doing close, loud instruments, okay? Basic applications are, the obvious one is vocals and speech, very popular for recording singers in studios or presenters doing radio, orchestras and ambient recordings also. I will also mention quickly about the cradle, which I'll just grab. The microphone itself screws into the cradle, okay? This is where potentially could have problems where the microphone's not secured. So it slots in there, and at the bottom it twists and it can be screwed into place like so, okay? And I am going to do this, so just bear with me. The key thing here is, once it's screwed in place, it should be permanently attached to the cradle, so it can be mounted either vertically, that way, or we can actually do it the traditional way around as well. The next microphone in our condenser library is the AKG C414, okay? It's got 4 polar patterns on the front of the microphone, which is all highlighted with the logo. We've got cardioid, hypercardioid, omnidirectional and figure of 8. Okay, to the back of the microphone, we've got a -10 and a -20 attenuator switch, and we've also got a 75 and a 150 Hz high-pass filter. Okay, applications, very good for ambient recordings, very good for overheads as well. Instruments such as piano, also very good for. Okay, orchestras could be an ideal choice. Again, I'd probably recommend avoiding using it on anything excessive volumes, acoustically like, such as close miking on drums, okay, with distortion from the diaphragm. Also, key to remember is it comes with a cradle as well. The microphone can sit in the cradle. If you hold onto the cradle, you can twist the bottom and it will lock the microphone in place. The next microphone I'm going to be looking at is the AKG C1000, okay? It's a condenser microphone, obviously, we're in that part of the demonstration. But if you haven't got phantom power at hand, you can actually simply use a 9-volt PP3, which will give you enough power to plug directly into a desk without phantom power. It's got an on switch, so beware of that, and you get an initial red flash of the LED to tell you that the microphone's working. Application-wise, I'd probably say things like hi-hats, overheads, any high-frequency content instrument generally it'll work very well. And very good for subtle acoustic instruments, i.e. acoustic guitar. The next microphone is the Behringer C2, okay? It's quite a small pencil microphone, okay? But very, very accurate and very good at recording high frequencies, okay? It also has, by default, a little switch on the front, high-pass filter. We've got a high-pass filter switch, knock it down one, and you've got a high-pass filter. You knock it down again and you've got an attenuator switch, so it's a double switch in one if you like. This microphone is permanently set to being hypercardioid, okay? It comes from the store, it comes as a pair, which makes it ideal for stereo microphone recording. An obvious one off the top of my head, 8 drum overheads. Next up we have the C2's slightly bigger brother. It's the Behringer B5, okay? On the front, very similar again, we have a high pass filter, and then below that we have an attenuator switch, okay? And what's a nice little feature about this B5 is that we have interchangeable capsules. So at the minute we're set to cardioid, but coming with the microphone is a replacement head. So that's the cardioid head capsule, and over here we have omnidirectional. So just by that we can change the polar pattern of the microphone, okay? Ideal for smaller acoustic instruments and also can be used for overheads as well. The next microphone we're going to be looking at is the AKG C3000, okay? It has 3 options on the back, 3 little switches. The top one is the polar pattern. We can go from cardioid to hypercardioid. The second switch is the high pass filter switch, and the third switch is the attenuator switch, okay? So we can have a -10 decibel attenuator if the signal's too hot. Very good for acoustic instruments, e.g. guitars, good for speech, and if you've got a pair of them you can also use them for drum overheads as well. The next microphone we're going to look at is this little gem. It's the Audio-Technica AT4050. It's a very flexible microphone. It's got 3 polar patterns on the front. We've got omnidirectional, cardioid, figure of 8. On the back we've got a high pass switch, and we've also got a -10 attenuator switch, okay? It's very good for acoustic instruments, exceptional for vocals as well, or even speech. Great for overheads and orchestras and ambient recordings. In the box it comes with its own specific cradle, and the microphone needs to sit in the cradle, making sure that both rubber bands are securely around the base of the microphone. The next mic we're going to be looking at is the 4050's little brother. It's the AKG 4033, okay? It's a slightly broken down version of the 4050. Very similar in sound, but it's a fixed cardioid polar pattern. To the back we've still got a high pass filter though, and we've also got a -10 attenuator switch. I really like overheads with this microphone. Acoustic guitar is great as well, and also not out of place for doing orchestra work. The next microphone we're going to be looking at is the AKG C568, okay? This is a traditional shotgun microphone, okay? Its only variation to other microphones is, switch-wise anyway, is that it's got a high-pass filter on the back. Okay, this is a very good microphone if you're working outdoors and you want to reject sounds from the sides, okay? It's very specific that it will only pick up sounds directly from the front, okay? It can also be used with windsocks as well to reject wind noise.